guess we'll call this meeting to order. And have,
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we'll have a reading of the minutes.
The monthly meeting of the Franklin Town Board was called to order at 3:15 by Supervisor Jeff Taggart. Present were Don Smith, Garrett Sitz, David Grant, Lisa Hike, Supervisor Jeff Taggart, Highway Superintendent Mark Lang, and Paul Warner. Also present were Jan Mulgrein, Don Ritz, Jean Marner, Carol Marner, Kyla Nelson Bound, Andrew Bulgaro, Nancy Cloonan, John Cloonan, Gina, and I can't read the last name, Linda Bevilacqua, and Shirley Ferguson. The minutes from the December 30th meeting were read. Garrett Sitz made a motion to accept the minutes as read. David Grant seconded the motion, and all present agreed. Supervisor Jeff Taggart made the following appointments. Fiscal Officer Jeff Taggart, Deputy Fiscal Officer Paul Warner, Deputy Town Supervisor Don Smith, Deputy Highway Superintendent Jamie Archibald, Registrar Connie Young, Deputy Clerk Don Ritz, Records Management Officer Connie Young, Health Officer Alberta Desan, Code Enforcement Officer Mark Jacobs, Town Attorney Joseph Vermetti, Dog Control Officer Julia Van Steenberg, Court Clerk Jan Schlafer, Planning Board Member and Chairman Dan Schlafer, Town Historian Laura Foster Page, Town Board Rep on Planning Board Jeff Taggart, Town Board Rep on Recreation Committee Garrett Sitz and David Grant, Zoning Board of Appeals Chairman Marianne Corrali, Official Newspaper Walton Reporter, Official Bank National Bank of Delaware County Franklin Branch. Garrett Sitz made a motion to approve the appointments. David Grant seconded the motion, and all agreed. Jean Marner asked Jeff his impression of Dimock, Pennsylvania. Jeff indicated he did not see problems with the pipeline, but there were issues with the compressor station. Mark Lang presented a resolution to the board regarding approving the highway superintendent signing an agreement with the County of Delaware, who has agreed to administer a consortium of the towns and villages in the County of Delaware for mandatory CDL drug and alcohol testing. Don Smith made a motion to approve the resolution. Garrett Sitz seconded the motion, and all agreed. Mark presented an agreement for the expenditure of highway monies, which will be discussed at a later meeting. With no further business to come before the board, Garrett Sitz moved for adjournment at 3:45. David Grant seconded the motion, and all agreed.
Any additions or questions? Motion been made. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we've got some old business we've got to take care of first. We're looking into the roundabout in North Franklin. They have come back to us December, March? Yes. They came back, the head guy from the region, of the 9-county region, another individual that are very, cordial, pleasant, very good to talk to. I don't know if, I've got a picture of what the changes are if you want to come up, and there's actually a bypass from 28 to 57. It's basically where the road is now. That inside lane, which you drive now, would be a bypass of the roundabout if you were possibly going too fast or wanted just to go to Franklin. You wouldn't have to go through the roundabout to go there. Is there any other questions? If you want to come up and look at what their picture is here, you're more than welcome. If there's any other questions, they would like a decision on whether they like it, don't like it.
Who is they?
Pardon?
Who is they?
DOT.
Yes.
Yep. You're more than welcome.
And the
You want to
reason
take it
is?
back and pardon?
The reason for it?
For the roundabout is there's too many accidents at that intersection. It's a dangerous intersection. The state thinks, I think by clearing it out as they have, taking the guardrails down and stuff, it has improved it. We haven't had I believe through the emergency squad and fire department, we haven't had the calls as had in the past. But as everybody knows, it's speed related. Yes.
Wouldn't it cost a lot less money to put up a series of signs, say, slow down, dangerous intersection, 45, 35, 25, and just...
That's just what we told them too, the signage. And they said, well, I think Don said at one of those meetings, that, where's the 55 mile an hour speed limit sign coming into Franklin, goes to 30? How many people are 30 miles an hour when they hit the village line? I'm not. I'm sorry. I mean, be honest about it. I mean,
We
a lot
go
of us
30.
cruise in, coast in. So I agree. It's speed related. There should be. I've moved for like the rumble strips or whatever. To see if that might, just to get your attention, have signage too. They can't just do the roundabout because the roundabout is a 20 mile an hour roundabout. And right now, if you're coming down the mountain at 40, that 20 is going to be a real nightmare. Yes, Karen.
But now the road that is coming from here that stays to the right and then goes to Route 28. That'll be two-way. That'll be a two-way road.
No, it will not. No, you'll come. It's one way. Can you come into that's a roundabout?
Oh, it is going to.
Traffic circle, whatever you want to call it. The only one that's one way. Actually, none of it's two way. It's all one way. Yes.
I see. So it won't be one way on 28 either.
No. Some 28 you'll have
Two-way.
You've got to go under the roundabout, yield right away.
It's like up on top of the mountain over there. Yeah.
Yes.
And does the town of Franklin have financial obligations to help build it?
It's all federal, it's not state, it's federal money. For dangerous intersections, it's going to be a $1 million+ project, totally funded by the federal government, not state.
Still us.
It's not tax money, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt. But
So the bypass is just going from Franklin to Delhi.
no, from Oleana to Franklin is the bypass, because our concern was trucks coming down the mountain. They've got to have a way to get out of that traffic circle. They may not maybe want to go to Delhi, but they can come towards Franklin, make the corner, and get turned around and head back. It's a safety valve is what that is, right, Mark? Is that what they basically put that in for? I mean, there's still...
A runaway truck ramp.
Well, it's not much. It's a downhill ramp right now. But the other concern we have is on Mike Howland's driveways. He's got two, which a lot of people know. He's got two driveways. They would like to get an agreement with Mike to close the one that's actually in the roundabout and just have one access. But I mean, what my concern is, and the board has decided too, that if we agree that this could be used, they have to get an agreement with Mike Howland, because he's the main landowner that's affected by this. Agreement with him. If he agrees to it, the board supports it. If he doesn't agree with it, then we can't support it. That was the feeling of the board. I don't know how that
Seems fair.
That's fair. Is that yes?
But will they have the signage to get people to slow down?
There's
Because as you...
signage too. There's still going to be signage. Yes. But it's, we all said flashing lights, signage, this and that. Well, as people say, after you've seen the signs 3 times, or more or less, there it goes, and you go right on by. And I understand that, and I really want the rumble strips. 2 or 3 of them come down the mountain, because that'll get your attention.
That's important.
There's a seat up here, Joe.
Do you think 20 miles an hour is realistic?
That's what they're saying. I mean, the roundabout will take 20 miles an hour.
Maximum.
Well, that's what they're saying. Yes.
Are those rumble strips part of their plan? It sounds like a great idea.
Well,
Or is that
they
something
didn't
that we
say
have-
they would be looking into it, I believe. Is that what they said? The rumble strips?
Yeah, they're looking into it. One of their reasons they don't like to put them up is the noise. There are all the houses around them. They don't like to do that if possible.
How many decibels?
Like the crash.
But that area really, if you stay above, part way up the mountain to get their attention, there's not a lot of housing in there. One at the top of the straight stretch, and one at the bottom. So you should be able to get a couple of them in there, I think. But that would be another thing that should be in there. We want rumble strips and signage. I don't know, is there any other concerns? that we should be looking at.
I would make sure that Doug understands that they're the ones that are really concerned with the rumble strip and minorities and so on. They would be more so than anybody else.
I want to see where he stands on here. I'm not show up at a board meeting.
Well, I want to get this moving, they want to get it moving too. So I will see Mike probably Thursday night, just to get a feeling on it, and it's up to the state
Right, to get his opinion.
to
Where you stand.
get an approval with him. Because if that doesn't happen, as far as I'm concerned, we don't need it. I don't know if that's fair or not, or what's the thought on that? Because he's the one most affected.
Yeah, we should back him up.
Right. If he doesn't want it, he's not at ease with it, we should, let the taxpayer voice his
If
opinion.
it didn't go through, it seems to me that the connection between 357 and going up the mountain, that curve is not well designed, so that if people come down the hill, it's hard to. I've seen a number of crashes there because it's hard to slow down somehow.
Well, that's where, if it doesn't get approved, I think they should still, they haven't done basically any improvement coming down the hill, and we've been talking this 3 years, 4 years. So they haven't done a lot of signage that I've fixed them down in the bottom by the golf course. But coming down the hill, I think they did trim a few trees. They haven't done a lot of signage or improvements. They really want to do this roundabout. But I think, the individuals that Mark and I met with were very cordial, very, wanting to know what the town wanted to do and what we could do to get it done. And I think that's, if the feeling is that, get Mike, let the state talk to Mike Howland, let them do some talking. It's out of our hands, we will, go along with what Mike wants. Is what Mike and Beth. If that's all right, we'll probably have a motion to that effect, so we can resolve the LT or write to him. And, to that effect on that. The motion being made.
I'll second that. Give me wait on the motion until we got the note.
Well, with Mike's approval, with Mike's approval, and then you want to get something, then it goes all in the state's hand. They've got to work with Mike and do what they have to do to get Mike to sign it.
Is it just Mike or Mike and Maurice?
Mike and Beth.
Mike, Beth, and Maurice.
Well, Maurice is not as badly as Mike's. They've got a proposition in there to get through the roundabout for Maurice, but not for Mike. Pardon?
I think the rumble strips are what affect Maurice more than the...
It might, but he's got enough, there's tree, woods there that buffer the noise, I think. They don't have to be on the bottom. They're down at the bottom, it's already too late.
Yeah.
Jake break at the beginning.
They should have been breaking long before they get down to Maurice's driveway. But, so do we want to hold off on the resolution, or on the resolution? Ask Mike what he'd like to do. Okay.
I would definitely make Judge aware of the
Well, I'm sure you will be.
rumble strip or
Rumble strips?
also.
Okay. Okay. And I also got a letter from the Delaware County Fair. It's not from the fair, it's sponsored by the fair. They have a 5K run, walk, and a 10K run on Saturday mornings. And they're asking for a $100 donation from the town for the cost of t-shirts. We have never done it before.
usually covered by entry fees. Usually the people
Well,
that do the run walk have to
right.
pay.
There is, I'm sure there is an entry fee.
Yeah. Usually that's covered by the entry fee.
We didn't do it last year. They had it last year. We didn't do it anything
I'm not
last year.
sure how many years they've had it. It's a third annual, so We've had it for, this is the third year now. And it is on Saturday, August 26th. So, and they would give the town in bold print with a star underneath, as well as saying that sponsoring towns in Delaware County. Yeah, I'm not sure. So, that was, we can talk about it later, or we can do something now, or whatever. I guess the town, quote unquote, does not sponsor the turkey run, turkey trot, or the Treadwell Halloween run either, that they've just started. So I guess if we're not putting money into them, I would say we don't have to put money into the Delaware County Fair.
Charity begins at home.
Well, we should start, if we're gonna, if we're gonna donate to them, then we should donate to the other ones too. And that's probably my thought on it. We can, we're not interested, and go from there. Is that okay?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Well, let's see, then we'll go to Mark now, because I think there's few of the people could be leaving from the meeting, maybe before we're over. Maybe we'll be done. I hope we're done.
We can really got to do is just this agreement for the monies there that I talked about last month. Just need to sign that. But everybody got a copy of last time how to put that down.
Yep.
For the extended agreement.
Yep. Look at it earlier. I don't see
The
it.
general repairs and what we're going to do with the CHIPS money.
Agreement for the expenditure of highway monies.
Question was asked last month too about the 5 foot on those pipes.
Oh, yeah.
There's all sorts of different classifications in New York State about bridges. Some of them come under 5 foot or 5 foot or above, and that's why that's in there.
Okay.
But in Delaware County, it's 20 at 20 feet. So
So anything over 20 feet is county responsibility. Anything under is ours.
yes,
Okay.
that's the difference between a box culvert and a bridge.
Okay. So bridges is 20 plus, and box culvert is under 20. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions? Well, I guess we need a motion to accept Mark's agreement for the expenditure of highway monies.
Motion.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
One other real thing right now is we got the prices on those doors. We have talked about garage doors. I'll point for a variation. I can pass these around if you want to look at them. Right now, action door out of Oneana would be at $3,525 per opening each door, and that's everything. So the doors, insulation, take it away, new lifts, electric motors and everything, safety sensors, of course. And then the highest one, that was $3,525. The highest was $5,200. That was Jack Hayes. And then what's this, Jamie? It says just one door only, $2,950.
Yeah, then you got to add the opener into it.
Okay. And you add all the other stuff
All
to
the
it.
other stuff on that.
Yes. So, you pass these guys, you look at them if you want.
Okay, we'll pass these around. Anything else? What about has your truck body come yet? Or
No.
getting close, or?
No, I left a message the other day and and Jamie and I were talking about, I haven't heard back from him yet. Probably the only other thing is that road use agreement thing. I did receive the one that said use the one for an ordinance. I read some of it. Wayne had got a hold of it and made some mention of a whole bunch of stuff on it. And,
There are about 2.5 pages of things he didn't like, or
well, there was 3 pages of what they put in for an ordinance, and I believe he had 3 pages of stuff that really needed to be addressed. In that. Personally, what I've seen, I don't care for the ordinance. The ordinance is, what the ordinance would do is pretty much handcuff everybody, whether you're a logger, a stone guy, farmers, guys with trucks. You know, if you got sewage, sand, and gravel coming here, Clark's coming here, if you had a housing development going in, you're going to really blister those guys. Where under the road use agreement, you're making an agreement with the Constitution and all those pipelines, all that stuff. There's basically what's in an ordinance is already.
Now Wayne is doing one with Constitution Pipelines. That's what his is entailing, not just a road use program. It's a road use program with Constitution, or road use agreement.
Right.
Road use agreement with Constitution.
Right.
I haven't seen it.
So that
I heard there was issues with it.
there's issues with both of them, but that's what you have to work out, and that's what they're trying to do, try to get that right now.
Okay. Maybe I can get a hold of Wayne and Gene Pickford and see if we can get together and sit down and see if we can hash everything out.
Some of the emails I've seen, it's kind of been put back a little bit. Looks like more of
The pipeline.
Yeah. So
Well, at least DEC put on it. How much further down that's going to happen. But, okay.
it's basically it right now.
Thank you, Mark. There's just what?
No problems with keeping the roads open and so on?
Very good so far.
Sounds good, sounds good.
Knock on wood.
Good job yesterday.
Thanks indeed.
Yes, Gene.
Yeah, I would add to that, very good job on our roads, certainly, keeping the roads open. This question of ordinance versus, can I say something about that, ordinance versus agreement? The problem with that is that if they don't live up to the agreement, we have to take them and sue them. We don't have the power of law to enforce their behavior. And around the country, generally, I've read lots of reports of companies basically saying, "So sue me." Now, I know there are others where they've behaved well, but at the moment they're all having financial difficulties, and who knows what they're going to do. So that could leave us on the hook.
Well, I'll probably, and I think Don has a lot of faith too, is I'll see what Wayne Reynolds from the county feels is the best way for the town to go forward. Because he has the experience, he's an engineer, he's done this for years. Maybe not this actual agreement, but I thank you for your concern and your the pluses and minuses to and we'll just I'll ask that of Wayne, what's the advantage of an agreement over a ordinance or whatever. And go from there, because it doesn't really matter. I think if an agreement or ordinance, probably the town's the one who's going to fight it anyway. I'm presuming, maybe not, but I'm thinking.
Well, if you've got the force of law, you call the sheriff and say our laws are being violated.
The contract is being violated if they break the agreement.
You're talking the same thing, quote unquote, with the noise ordinance. If it's not being enforced, somebody's going to enforce it. If somebody's violating it, probably the law enforcement does get involved. Maybe I'm just...
Not with an agreement, though. An agreement, they say you have to go to court. So
I'll get a hold of Wayne Reynolds and see what is recommended. ask our attorney too.
The other thing is that both logging and agriculture are excluded from, are protected or can be in any ordinance that you write about the roads, because that's obviously the heartblood of this community. Yeah.
I think it's already protected, isn't it?
The agriculture probably.
Yeah.
I don't know about logging is a sense of agriculture too.
Yeah, logging is agriculture.
Yeah, forestry. Right? Okay.
Is there some consideration of this Delta Company's program?
It's been tabled right now.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure, as I said, you know, we're getting a, when we go,
Worth a look.
right, it's worth a look, there's no doubt. Whether it's the one to jump on ship with, or whether, you know, we get, I think, what I'd like to see is get the townships to get somewhat a basic road use agreement, road use ordinance for all of us.
Yeah.
So when they come in the county, they know what the rules are. Whether they break them or not, we can't control that until afterwards. But that's what my concern is getting uniformity through the 5 towns that are quote unquote quoted right now to be, you know, affected by this Osprey pipeline.
If they're all together with the same law, then you've got more power in taking
You
it
have
to
five towns that could fight the same battle. Split the cost up or whatever, share the cost. You know, that sounds simple. Whether it is or not, nothing's simple in this world. We get lawyers involved.
But even with an agreement, you still have to have some sort of documentation of the current status. So you're going to have to go into that somehow.
Somehow it's going to be documented.
Or else they say we didn't do that.
If they're going to mess with us, they're going to mess with us. That's the bottom line. Yes, Pete.
I've heard that if they abuse the roads and the roads are starting to fall apart, you can close off those roads to them. So if you put them out of business and they don't fix it, they have to fix it if they want to use it.
I'm sure there's,
you know,
that
so you have to look into the whole picture. You know, look into the whole picture.
Well, one lawyer can tell you one thing, and I know I've heard through the county that there's a law firm out of Albany says you got to have a road use law, then do a road use agreement. And a lawyer firm out of Binghamton says a good road use agreement or ordinance is all you need. So I know Davenport has passed a law and the ordinance or agreement. I'm not sure which it is. But Sydney is talking about a law, then an ordinance, and I'm not sure, you know, as I said, that's why they leave these loopholes. 2 lawyers can have 2 different opinions, and that's why you have lawsuits. You know, okay.
But you know, when they take one of the roads out, when the bridge is gone, you can't get around here. So.
Oh, I agree.
So you know, remember what happened with 357?
No, well, that, of course, that's all state. But, you know, there's not a whole lot of. There's only one. No, there's 2 bridges. There's 3 bridges on 357. You know, in the township. But the county is more affected than anybody, I would say, because they're the ones that've got the biggest spans. That, you know, you got Otego and you got Chamberlain Hill. You know, and and that's why Wayne's looking into it so close. So as I said, we'll get more information from Wayne, and I'll get Mark involved too with it, and we'll see what we can come up with. Yes.
Now, didn't Wayne just throw it back to each individual town to come up with their own ordinances? Because he didn't want to back any of them?
He really hasn't thrown us to the, you know, thrown us to the wolves yet. But I mean, he wants to get his done, I believe, Mark. Or you can speak to it. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's trying to get his done, and then the rest of us will follow or whatever. But he did not do that. He did not throw everybody out with.
Under the bus, that's a term.
That wasn't done.
It didn't come to me. No, I mean, I didn't, you know, I haven't got that feeling from Wayne. He wants to get his together, and then, you know, he'll help us with whatever we can. Okay, so that's, now we'll go, so we're all done, Mark? Okay. Well, I guess we'll open the meeting now. So questions and concerns? Yes?
Well, the last thing you said to me when I left last time, you hope you see me again, and I hope I don't wear out my welcome.
Everybody's welcome. Sometimes it gets, okay.
I've done a lot of reading
Yes.
in the last month, and actually a little civics class 101, and I'm just going around in circles, and forgive me if I overstep or speak or whatever. First of all, I have this picture of, we have a pair of eagles in the village. They're at for whatever. But anyway, following up on the emergency preparedness question that I raised, I like to, hopefully whatever I state is, worthy of.
Right.
And so, I went with the question, I just went looking with the question about even response times in Delaware County, emergency response times, because we have had road improvement over time since the last time I worked in medicine. And in so doing that search, I came across the Delaware County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan Update, March 2013. And I found that from a lot of the statistics and stuff used or analysis or whatever in that mitigation plan for Franklin came from the 2006 comprehensive plan for the town of Franklin. Thank you very much for all the hard work that everybody has done with that. It represents a tremendous, both plans. But so then this is where I did a lot of reading, and working in medicine, I've always looked at risk assessments, and just going down the list with fire, landslides, water, there are concerns in respect, actually, to pipeline. We are, the village of Franklin is a little urban area with a tremendous amount of wildlife and wild unattended fields, so the fire risk supposedly is higher, for that. If a fire starts and then it goes up. So that's just something that came to me. But the big one, which, I keep picturing, how they manage avalanches out west. They set out noise stuff. And I was surprised to see that landslides actually register as a certain amount of risk in this area. And with the compressor vibration and noise and the clear cutting of slopes, in places, I'm just seeing landslides everywhere.
Well, I think what go ahead. I don't want to cut into your.
Yeah, right. But from whatever the gentleman from Pennsylvania, he was describing the 357 or an airplane noise like coming in for a landing and then a constant vibration. So I don't know if that could be, if we could protect ourselves, with zoning noise, and I don't know how you measure vibration, but, and just by the way, the HAZMIT plan describes landslides, what causes landslides. They include vibration, but in CPs to the FERC thing, they don't mention vibration at all. So you have a better description of what causes landslides.
Also, a lot of this, with the Constitution pipeline right now, there's no quote-unquote compressor station coming with that one at this time, which it will come, there's no doubt. See, the Tennessee is the one who's asking for the compressor station.
Right. Well, and just as a little side thing, I have a friend of 40 years who works, he's a senior sales rep for Siemens Electric. And he's actually involved with the Better Burner. He has patents out, within the company to make the better, for coal and, whatever. And the first thing I said to him, I hadn't spoken to him in 3 years, and the first thing I said to him, we might be getting a compressor station. And all he could say was, whoa, because he knows what that means. And so that just like flipped me out, because he's forever, there's pipelines everywhere. And it's like, well, I know that, but. So then onto water. In the 2006 comprehensive plan, it shows our public water supply district at Bissell Hill Road, where the springs were, with a corresponding zoning law. And as you know, the village of Franklin has wells now. And why would I be presenting this to the town is because the school is a emergency place, and then the water. and from the village would supply the school, correct? It's, trying to get information about the well. The only thing I could find, because our mayor is on leave, regular medical leave, and trying to get to talk to people. It's a principal aquifer, sand and gravel aquifer local. And there is a program, the Wellhead Protection Program. It's a not-for-profit, and it's run through the Department of Health. We have not participated in that. It's voluntary. It's not. But what that would do, it gives you the delineation of the aquifer itself, so that you can have a zoning area. Right. It inventories the contaminants and potential contaminants, that would be likely to go, the description of this well, 80 feet deep or what, it doesn't sound very deep, and with the sand and gravel, it sounds like stuff can just seep right into that. And then it also would try to predict the likelihood of contamination. And our wells are located near a road designated as a heavy equipment use road in CP's plan, and I have a map of that. Is this aquifer designated as a sole source? I don't know. Right. What I've been told, that the springs on Bissell Hill Road, they're still pretty much connected to there's a piece missing but easily replaced, where it could.
Can't use it.
Well, no, not by, according to state, but in emergency, when the FID hits the sham, then we have, backup. We would have backup, but I don't know if it's like near milepost, whatever, of the line. It's like, here's the line, here's the roads right around it. It just totally,
It's probably a part of a wetland they might be going through. One of them.
Right, but if that's good, so can the Bissell Hill Road spring still be used as emergency backup? If so, we need to protect this water supply, have it stated, and then zoning to reflect our new well water supply and establish Bissell Spring Road as emergency water supply. I don't know if the hazard mitigation plan would need an update, because we're not even mentioned on their list of potable water.
Right. I think what you're going to have to do, and this is just, is possibly take water samples of your water before anything starts. Because if you don't have something to base it on, there's got to be a baseline, and whether Constitution Pipeline would be mandated to pay for it or not, I'm not sure. I know in DEC's regs, I understood that if they came in and did fracking, the fracking companies would have to pay for any water testing and stuff that was done. Now, whether they would be available to pay for testing now, I don't know. It's something that landowners would have to look into. And on the emergency water supply, somebody should get a hold of Oneonta. They've taken the springs away from Treadwell because they're not safe, or they got some bacteria in them or something, so you can't use them. And I don't think you can even use them as a backup, because you're giving people unsanitary water. I don't know. I don't know I don't know if Treadwell could go back to the spring or not. They'd love to, but the state says no, disconnect that. That's.
Would the town be interested in the Wellhead Protection Program? It's a not-for-profit. I don't know that it costs anything, other than our collected tax dollars, but to have this delineation, I saw one, I think it was for Kedosia or something, and they described where the wells were, and then they showed the area around it. That would be the wellhead protection area. Because these wells are like right next to the road, and right in a floodplain.
They're in the floodplain.
Which is kind of strange to me, but I just to have that information, regardless of the pipeline or not, just to have that in the hazmat plan. And
I think that would be a good concern to tell DEC, as and the water situation they're asking for comments now.
Right.
It'd probably be a good concern to to write in there because you are concerned about it. And we'll have to go on to somebody else because.
Yes, I'm sorry, way over 3 minutes.
Hey, Gene.
I was just going to say, wouldn't that be a situation in which the town would want to make a comment to DEC about this very situation, or some public,
I mean, I've got information here for the car gear. I just picked up in Sydney the other day when I went to a meeting, on your comments to DEC, which there was not a whole lot of new information at that meeting. They had 13 different letters. I guess they had all printed up. All you had to do was sign them, and they take care of it. But concerning the water sample, not sampling, but with all the DEC permit process and stuff like that. And I didn't mention. I feel if it's got your handwriting or whatever, your signature on it, stamped letter is convenient, but it would mean more, I believe, if it was done on more of an individual basis, not just 13 letters.
I agree about
all 13 of them.
Well, I'm saying, shouldn't the town be taking an active position in relation to the DEC? And
it's on an individual basis. That's what.
Why? What? But isn't?
But, maybe some of the as a board member, yes, I think I'll probably write a letter.
No, but shouldn't the town? Doesn't the town have a collective interest in seeing that the water supply of the village, or maybe it's the village that has to take that position?
Realistically, it's probably the village because the village has no zoning.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason we have zoning is because the village didn't want a gravel pit on the other side of the creek. That's why zoning got put in. I was on the zoning commission, and I was for zoning, but without that push from the village, zoning would not have been done as fast as it was. And I'm not saying it was wrong, right, or indifferent. It's fine. They were asking for, I think, way more than they should have back then and stuff, so it was a good thing. Zoning is a good thing.
Well, who is the water district? I mean, what government agency is?
That is the village.
The village is the village.
It's
So,
the village, yes.
so they should actually comment to the
should,
DEC.
Yes, the village should. I'm sure Tom will, and I'm sure probably.
I spoke with Paul DeAndre. He's concerned.
Yeah, well, that's part of the board and stuff too. Yeah, I mean it's really good. I know Treble. We oversee the Treble money because they're not a municipality. That's the only reason we're tied in with the Treble water system, and we do oversee it. And Paul does the bookkeeping for them. But I think the village, it's a concern that all landowners can write if they want to. If they don't write, I think myself, I'll probably write a letter, yes. But to, go further than that, individually, people should do it, not as groups. I think should count less than individuals. Because if you got the effort to do it, it should be more responsive. Yes, Carol.
Well, it's just that you represent us, and I think that if you discuss it among yourselves and you all wrote the letter and signed it, you're our representatives. I mean,
Right,
you would have
right.
force of that,
Yes, but you also got to realize there are two sides to every coin, and there are you individuals, which I'm not. You have a passion for what your concerns are, and I understand them. I'm not, but we've also maybe there's another 30 people in the township that says no, I'm not concerned about that. So how do you say the town isn't for it when we don't have the representation from them here to say that? I'm sorry. I mean, I think if the town board members want to, if anybody wants to write a letter, they should. And more than one maybe. But to say that it should be the town's responsibility, this water with especially the spring, the water for the village, that is there. They've got to have a response in there. That's the main ones because that's what affects more than it does myself on my own private well up on the other hill.
Right.
Okay. Next. Yes, Jeff.
I asked Tina just one of the questions she asked you. about the training of our, could be our town highway department that needs to close down a road. I know you mentioned compressor station, but Constitution comes through with a pipeline. Don't we need to concern ourselves with a rupture? And I asked about the training of the firemen and stuff. Have you dug into that at all?
I've got this flyer that came, I got up from county. It's Enterprise Products, an operator of liquid natural gas and crude oil lines. And what I get out of it is that they're over all the gas companies, all the oil and gas pipelines, because it doesn't say who you call. Here's the emergency number here, but it says, we're the Enterprise Products Operating LLC and/or Enterprise Crude Pipeline LLC as Enterprise, and they show that they're contact all over the United States, and it kind of a bland thing. Things you're supposed to watch for and look for and this and that. But you're right, there's got to be, and that's, I think most of these and most of the emergency services that we will have, hopefully we don't ever have any call for it, but I believe they're going to be more or less keeping people safe from, if it's a house fire or something, yes, they've got to respond and take care of it. But I think they're going to be...
They're trained for that, Jeff.
They're trained for that, but that's what I'm saying. These companies are trained to take care of the gas line leaks and stuff. We're not, the volunteer fire department can't go to a gas line leak.
So if a pipeline ruptures, our fire department stands down. They don't...
Well, I wouldn't say stand down. They probably
stand back.
Oh, you evacuate the areas?
Yeah, basically that's what it's going to come down to. If you have a rupture in one of them, there's two valves, one on each side. They shut the valves, we shut everything down. Anybody who says that they're going to go in there and put this fire out is wrong. You don't do that. Is your training, Mark, does your training teach you that? Is the gas company teaching people how to shut these valves? Just like the company you work for, they provide training for us. With the electric, the gas company, part of it does it, like with Walton and those, on their small end, the distributor lines into houses. And the big companies, they'll provide training for what they do, like Constitution does, Tennessee does. The company that I was involved with 40 years ago, they provided training to all the volunteers too. And it's going to go in and say, you can't put this out, you're going to evacuate everybody within that area. So your training will come from the gas company? Probably. Is that something that the town could check into to make sure that does happen? The state puts on programs too. Yeah. Because we don't have a pipeline in Franklin right now, correct? Right. Not that at all. No. So shouldn't our emergency personnel be trained? Yeah, and I would say that would happen.
At one of the early meetings, Constitution said it would take one of their men 2 hours to get here and 6 hours to turn the valve.
It's electronic. Electronic valve. We're going to have a valve about every mile, is what I understand on it, radio control.
Yeah.
Whether, as long as they all work, just like anything, manual is the best way because you can shut it off. But if there's a fire by the manual, you're not going to shut it off either. It sounds like, I think they're getting safer and safer if they can be. They've come a long ways out of maybe the old pipelines. I'm sure that most of the older pipelines, there's no such thing as a radio controlled valve. I don't know how many years they've had them. It hasn't been approved yet. I agree with that. And the concern is tremendous, and I understand that too. But, we will. I'll call Walton Fire Department, find out the chief over there, and see what training they went through, because they've got a gas pipe. It's not a high pressure line. I don't know where the closest high pressure line would probably be in Hancock, then, wouldn't it? Hancock and Deposit, they got Millennium with a compressor station.
Oneonta has high pressure, don't they?
They have trainings at the Holiday Inn too.
And that's done by,
Is there a high pressure line?
NYSEG, your employer?
they do the low
Low
gas.
pressure.
That's all low pressure. They don't have any high pressure.
There is high pressure on the house though?
The one that up on 205, I believe is that a Tenco?
Okay, that site there where they get the big tank.
Yeah. Yeah, the company I work for
Is
is all
that natural
low.
gas or is that LP gas?
I believe, not for sure.
I don't know.
LP.
Because I know a lot of them are going, there's a new one coming out, natural gas, that is just starting up, I understand. That is, they're gonna put 4 tanks in freezers at one of the 2 plants. They're gonna truck natural gas from Portland or somewhere out in the middle of the state, truck it in by tractor trailers. It's been all approved through the state. And they're going to have 4 storage tanks over there, from what I understand, and save $500,000 a year on their energy costs. That's what I've heard. That's what I heard at the county level the other day. First I heard about it. Okay, next. Yes.
Hello, I'm Jason Starr. I live on Pomeroy Road, about 5 miles from the village. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak, and thank you all very much for your service to our town. I've submitted for the board's review a noise control ordinance for the town of Franklin. As I understand it, there is no law currently on our books as detailed as this, which protects the public health, welfare, safety, peace, and tranquility of the residents of the town of Franklin by regulating noise and vibration levels. The advice of those more educated than myself on the topics of pipelines and more to the issue of this ordinance, compressors, one piece of advice is that a strong noise ordinance on the books is necessary to have if you find yourself in the position of needing to protect the health, welfare, safety, peace, and tranquility of the residents of the town of Franklin. Protect us from what those with direct, personal, first-hand experience are telling us is a big, bad, ugly monster spewing benzene, killing the trees, destroying the water, the land, and animals that use the water, constantly and repeatedly shakes the earth, roars at loud volumes at all times, and who simply doesn't care about the health, welfare, safety, peace, and tranquility of the residents of the town of Franklin. Have a strong noise ordinance in place. This is the advice from people who have had the monster, I mean a compressor, with its attached pipelines come to their town. The advice of this board and the town lawyer at the December 30th town board meeting to me directly was to check out the noise ordinance of the town of Windsor. Windsor is about an hour from here, and interestingly enough, they have a compressor station. This facility has many complaints lodged against it. Many unhappy neighbors who have lost their peace and tranquility, gained some health problems, and do not feel safe in their town anymore. So following the board's advice, I researched the noise ordinance from Windsor and have tailored this proposed noise ordinance for the town of Franklin. I trust that through the appropriate and proper local legislative procedure, we will be able to put this law and any law we need to put on the books so that we can say without a doubt that we, everybody here and out there, that we are doing everything in our power to protect the public health, welfare, safety, peace, and tranquility of the residents of the town of Franklin. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
If somebody else want to speak, please?
Hard act to follow. I'm sorry, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah.
Don Hebert, just for the record, so you know who I am, and I will have copies of my comments that I'll leave with Connie. I do appreciate the possibility to present during this time. All residents and landowners in the town of Franklin have a lot of common ground. We really all are on the same side. Large and small landowners second homeowners, full-time residents, newcomers, long-timers, farmers, non-farmers, laborers, professionals, students, and senior citizens. We all breathe the same air, we hear the same noises, we drink the same water, more or less, we pay property taxes, we enjoy the area, and we will all have to put up with the same inconveniences and disruptions during any construction activities. All residents and landowners in the town of Franklin have a common enemy. The bad guys are the large energy corporations and the investment companies that do their financing. Gas and oil companies are just another gigantic Ponzi scheme where the new money keeps the scheme running. Over $800 billion was spent in 2013 in exploration costs alone for new oil and gas sources. And a barrel of crude oil or a cubic foot of gas takes more and more energy to produce today. The low-hanging fruits of the energy game are long gone. The ratio of energy input to output keeps rising. The U.S. does not need to follow the ethanol fiasco example where the energy ratio is 1 gallon of input equals 1 gallon of output. All that type of investment does is move money to someone's pockets, and the gas industry is rapidly moving in that direction. Investment in infrastructure to compress and transport natural gas is short-sighted and profit-driven. Gas companies traditionally have seen high returns on their investment. Profit is their motive, not energy need or energy independence for the United States. There is no more need for gas transportation capacity, more pipelines. The glut of natural gas from Pennsylvania fracking frenzy has surpassed the current demand and filled the pipelines. The proposed pipelines actually are part of a larger plan to export liquefied nitrogen natural gas to other countries. The gas companies will make profits. Delaware County and Franklin Township will be stuck with the mess. And when Marcellus and Utica shale deposits are eventually depleted, everyone who switched to energy of natural gas will face another higher cost of switching to yet another energy source. We are all mere pawns in their energy chess game. We lose, they make millions. This wasted energy and dollars would be much better spent on a renewable and sustainable energy source used to prolong carbon-based energy as we transition to new ones. That is a topic for another day. All residents and landowners in the town of Franklin will experience the common negative effects of compressor stations and pipelines. We've heard about the things: health concerns, noise issues, low frequency vibration, road damage, property rights, water problems, loss of our view by 100-foot radio towers, blinking lights at night, and 100-foot slashes through our woodlands. We will experience trespass potential. Open pathways encourage unwanted access to our properties. Marcy South power line turned our farm into a snowmobile route, and owners are liable for injuries, even to trespassers. Financial impacts. Will banks and insurance companies look at our properties on or near these projects differently? Will they refuse to issue mortgages or property insurance? Or will they just do so at higher prices to the property owners? Will the assessed value of the affected properties be reduced and thereby lower the tax base? And local natural gas consumption? Any natural gas used within the town of Franklin is unrealistic. Leatherstocking or any gas company would not want to invest the millions of dollars required to run a pipeline from the crest of the hill down to the village, and a decompression facility, which you need to reduce that pressure down to usable levels, for such a small volume of gas as the school and a few houses might provide. Thus, the negative impacts of pipelines and compressors are immense compared to any potential benefit. This is true for all town residents, not just nearby residents. Stopping these projects is a no-brainer decision. We do not want or need these pipelines and compressors in our town, nor should they be in anybody's town. In closing, I'd like to ask the board to show their opposition to the Constitution Pipeline and the construction of a compressor station. You can do this by doing one of several things. Number one, support a resolution to oppose the divisible load permit. The county has already passed Resolution 29, encouraging all towns to do that, and I think you probably will if you haven't already. Pass a road use ordinance. I have a sample of a road use ordinance that I am going to just leave with you that is generic, but it does give the town, quote, some protection when faced with impending major development projects that may result in extraordinary high-intensity traffic to and from development sites, resulting in significant and measurable damage to town roads that jeopardizes the health and safety of residents and others who use the roads. This is the process or the proposal behind it. I believe that with 2 pipelines, 1 or more compressors, and 2 proposed high-voltage lines, it's pretty much evidence that Franklin is indeed facing some impending major industrial development. And just that, I wasn't going to do this, but a quick second here, to answer another question that came up. The purpose of this law is to maintain the safety and general welfare of town residents by regulating heavy use of town roads that have the potential to adversely affect such roads. Well-maintained roads are important to the safety and economic well-being of the town and its residents. Endeavors such as farming, residential construction, timber harvesting, and gravel mining are also of economic interest. This law is not intended to regulate such businesses. The intent is to protect the public from road damage. And number 4, you could also oppose by proposing a change in Section 514 of the local zoning and change it to reduce the noise threshold from currently it says 70 decibels, reduce it to 55. That is FERC's maximum level. And you can also oppose it by changing Section 538 of local zoning law to include pipelines in that 1,000-foot setback for new industrial uses. I think we all agree that pipeline has a certain industrial ring to it. Currently, many buildings have less than 1,000-foot setbacks, and we have seen record that the incineration zone of a high-pressure natural gas pipeline explosion could be up to 1,200 feet. In closing, I just want to follow-up question from the December 30th board meeting. I asked the board at December 30th to pass a resolution to oppose the use of the economic development funds to promote or finance industrialization of Franklin with compressor station. Number 2, I asked the town supervisor to oppose any proposal to the Delaware County Board of Supervisors that includes Delaware County Office of Economic Development funding for the purchase of real property or funding the construction of a compressor station in Franklin. Has there been any action on either of those requests?
Yes. Thank you. I went to the IDA meeting 3 weeks ago, whenever they had their, it was a Friday, and told them that the town of Franklin would be totally against a pilot program, and that, we just, at this point, I am totally against the compressor station until they satisfy my concerns.
Well, Jeff, I thank you for that action, and I'll pass these over to you, Karen.
The problem is, there's 14 other towns in this county that want this thing to happen. Because it's taxed on 5 of them. And I told them, I don't care. If it's not good for Franklin, it's not good. The county, my concern isn't county. My concern is the towns that are being affected.
But even a pilot agreement is such a slap in the face because basically you're giving these large companies, now Scotty Clark just got a $900,000 grant. Bless his heart, he does a lot of good for our area, and there's a lot of jobs here, 37 new jobs. But you're giving them an opportunity where if Don Hebert builds a house, it gets taxed at its full value. If they build a compressor station.
Were you at that meeting? That sounds like what I said.
I'm paraphrasing.
But no, I agree. I agree with you 100%.
They can build a,
yes.
I think the one in Windsor, or not Windsor, right, it's going to be like $75 million, and it's going to be taxed at 75% less. That's not good.
Is it, or is it? They're
they haven't.
See, the IDA told me they haven't talked. Nobody's come before them for a pilot program for any compressor station. This and that. I said okay, but I'll bet my farm that the damn thing is going to come because it's financially smart.
Hungry Hill did get 75% reduction of their taxes with 5% increase each year, as well as any IDA paperwork. Okay.
Well, it's a 50% actually over the 15 years. At the 16th year, they're back up to 100%.
It started out at 75 and went up 5 each year, so something must have changed. And
first year it's 11,000 the first year, up then it goes to 66,000 at the end. But it's actually paying half the over the time frame, they pay half of the tax.
But think about it, 11,000
I agree.
on
It's
$12.5
$500,000.
million. And $12.5 million,
It's a difference
Jeff,
of
that's
$500,000, Donnie.
Yeah.
Is what it is. That's what it saved the company and cost the town.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Thank
It's
you.
something, and I'm sure the town board is against any pilot
In my
program. Thank you.
opinion, the whole IDA
Next.
program is favoritism and should be abolished. All of it.
You're not going to get an argument from me. I told them that this is, a homeowner can't build a house and get a tax deduction. So why should a business? Yes.
Hey Jeff, I'm kind of new with Dartmouth.
Well, that'd be good.
How far away are the nearest compressor stations on the Constitution line?
Demi and Wright.
They can go that far.
They can.
No.
What I understand that what they're buying, what I've been told, is 600,000 cubic feet a day. And through Constitution or through Tennessee, with their compressor station halfway, they're talking of over 2 billion cubic feet a day. So if anybody thinks that Constitution isn't going to ask for something, they have got their head in the sand. And I also think, something that should be done. I mean, I'm not against you guys. Sometimes I may not sound favorable, but I think this pipeline, I think it's a done deal. But there should be a stipulation in it that this is what you ask for. This is what you want the permit for. This is what you're, then mandate it for 10 years at least. You can't do a thing to it. No compressor stations, no improvements. You got to maintain it. That's what you got to do for at least 10 years. So they're not coming in 2 years wanting a compressor station. Yes.
The Siemens fellow that I spoke of, he said he pulled up the project, whatever he was looking at, and he saw the size and the flow and all that, and he says for something like that, there needs to be a compressor station every 120 and 150 miles, between 120 and 150 miles.
For what they got.
For what the project is.
Right. And that's what that's
so
124 miles.
Smack dab in the middle.
And they will want one down the road. I agree. So I mean, we're not. And okay, I'll go on. Okay, Pete, your turn.
When they came here to the school for the open house, I told them, I said, be honest to the public. Tell them how many more compressor stations you're going to put in. That was what I brought out the first day.
Yeah. Right. They say that's.
And you still have surprises coming out.
No, it's all. Not if you pay any attention. There's no surprise. Okay. So is that all you want, Pete?
Just wanted you to know that that's what I said to them in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Have you received the map from Abdifar? I know as of December 30th you had not, of that 4 mile. Matt Abdifar, you said that you had talked to him. Still not?
There was a map in the back of the pamphlet, yes, but it's, basically what I think we had in the Sydney meeting, it showed where, they said 80% is going to correlate alongside of Constitution, and they don't work together, which we all know is probably bullshit.
It looks like the 4 mile swath of the compressor station, that map showing that it is definitely in Franklin?
I can't say it's as far as I know, it's going to, everything I've heard between Bissell Hill and Chamberlain Hill, I mean, it could go Crane Hill, that's halfway.
But they didn't.
It could go Davenport too. I mean, I haven't seen anything that says, I haven't heard of anybody buying any land or anybody, purchasing land for this. I've heard a couple people being talked to.
Before I came to the meeting, I actually talked to a Tennessee rep, and he said if you have not received the map with the 4 mile swath as of today, that to contact him, and he would make sure that you get more.
Okay. You already spoke, Gene, so we're waiting. See everybody else.
Just in response to that.
Well, yeah, you already spoke. The
Okay.
response was asked up here, I think. Okay, is anybody else? Thank you for the question. And maybe I'll get one in the mail, but I did get one. I was mistaken. I did get one in the end, on the back side of the pamphlet I got on the 30th. There was a single page map.
Oh, that shows it in Franklin, you mean?
I didn't even pay attention to see if it was right in Franklin or not, to be honest
But
with
like,
you.
it should be like blue shaded.
It could be.
It shows like a
as I said,
4-mile blue shaded area from Bissell to east of Chamberlain Hill.
I can tell you yes, and I'd be lying, because I don't know. I didn't look, but everybody's saying, and that's all I've heard, Bissell Hill, Chamberlain.
Right, because I think it's just courtesy of them to send
Oh, it
you
is.
one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's coming to our
Yep.
town.
And it might have been in there, but I didn't, as I said, I've been told for 3 months, 4 months, it's going there, and it just seems to not be anybody denying it. So I'm expecting it will go in that range. I've heard land that's been offered to them outside of that zone, or area, or whatever. And a landowner got land he wants to sell, through rumor.
In Franklin or outside?
In the town of Franklin, yes. But not within Chamberlain Hill. Anybody else? No, you're right. We're allowing once. I'm sorry, it has been back a little bit.
That's my question. Why are we only allowed to speak once?
Because it can go on forever and ever and ever and have the same question answered 7 times. That's why, Mike, I mean, you haven't been here for all the meetings, and I must say, you have been much more cordial, and I appreciate it very much. I think everybody's gotten along better now. The first meeting was ugly.
Well,
from there, everybody's improved, and I just, if you have your opinion, your question, you have the opportunity to give it. And now, write it down, Mike, and we'll get it next month. It's in Treble next month, by the way. Okay, anybody else who hasn't asked a question? Okay, well, I guess we'll go to a little bit more of the town board meeting stuff. I thank you very much for all your inputs and concerns, because I know it is, it's heartfelt. There's no doubt about it. And thank you for being so cordial and pleasant. Concerning questions, I hope we haven't been, the time frame, Mike, I'm sorry about that. But that's, you want forever and beat a dead horse, and it'd be, just sooner or later, one of us are going to get probably ugly about it.
One quick question?
No. I'm sorry. I apologize, but no. Okay? And thank you very much for the noise ordinance.
Yeah.
I guess I'll ask you a question on that.
Yeah.
Why this 55 decibels?
That, I don't know the answer to that.
Because in zoning, it's 70.
Yeah, that is the...
I mean, that's my question. I don't know. Where do you come up with this?
That's FERC's.
FERC is 55?
That's
Yeah.
for their places that you stand at the border, it's supposed to be 55.
Okay, because I know that in zoning, which was revised in March of 2007, it has a number of 70 in it. So that's why where did the 55 come from? With 35, where did that come from? At night, after hours. I mean, where is that from FERC, or is that from Windsor's?
That could be from Windsor.
That's from Windsor's? Okay, because
Yeah.
I just did the 35 and 55, because I had looked up in zoning too, as Don did, about the 70 in the town law. And it has dust emissions and stuff too in that one portion of the zoning.
Yeah.
But that's the question I had for you, I guess. Hey, it's reversing this.
Yeah, and I don't have
okay.
A lot.
I just see that, and I don't know where they where the numbers came from. That's where I got my numbers from.
Sure.
How's that?
Sure.
And I don't know where the town or county got the 70 from either.
Yeah, I don't know. I know there is something in there about the hiring consultants, outside consultants. So maybe that's how.
maybe when we did it's probably in the comprehensive plan too somewhere. Yeah. I would think. So that's I'm sure it all ties in somehow. Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll go on with what business we have left. And if anybody wants this booklet to read it, I picked it up. I think they handed it out to the county about an operator of liquid natural gas and crude oil pipeline in your community. About inspecting it or emergency response or whatever. I've got one copy. I possibly get more out of the county. But if somebody wants to take this and pass it around, you're more than welcome. Because I think I got one home too.
Sure, glad you did.
Okay, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now, is there anything from recreation? No. No? Okay, we did it fair, did it wrong. What? Okay. Look over these. I guess that's it. The planning board meets, we didn't have a meeting in January because it was on first. And we're having a meeting Thursday night at 7:30 here. The planning board does. So there will be something going on Thursday night. And thank you, Jane, for the copy of the Madison County paper. I got that. Thank you. And I've given copies out. I handed a copy to Bonnie Hamilton from the county, from the health department in the county. And the planning board member has a copy of it that they're looking at, just so it does get handed around.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I guess to this end, is there any other business to come before the board?